So your first guided practice. What is the difference between an expression and an equation? Unlike an expression, an equation has an equal sign. You could have written the other way too. Unlike an equation, an expression does not have an equal sign. Your next question asks, what is the coefficient of the following equation? There's that word again, coefficient. It starts with the letter CO, and then we had another vocabulary word that also started with a CO. Do you remember what it was? A constant. If you ever get these mixed up, remember to check the CO. If we cut off the CO and the word constant, you get instant, which is not a real word. So that's not the word that means with anything. The coefficient, co and efficient are both, or efficient is a real word. So this is the word that means the number that's with our variable. So the coefficient in this equation is the number 4. Now just write the 4, not 4x. The coefficient is only a number, not a variable. It's just the number with the variable. What are the factors of 30? Factors means the numbers that multiply together to equal a product. So our product is 30. What are all the numbers? Well, you can always start with 1. 1 times 30 is 30. So we need numbers that are in between 1 and 30 still. Well, let's count up. 2 times what equals 30? 15. Half of 30 is 15 is a very common math problem that you'll have. I would make sure I'd memorize and be able to say it very quickly. Count up 3. 3 times 10 equals 30. Alright, keep on going between numbers between 3 and 10. Well, 4 doesn't go into 30 because 30 divided by, you can't divide it by 4 evenly. What about 5? 5 times 6 equals 30. Am I done? Yes, because there's no numbers in between 5 and 6. So those are all your factors of 30. What does a variable represent? It's an unknown value or an unknown number. A number you don't know is also an acceptable answer. Alright, this question wants you to identify the constant, coefficients, or variables that are in the expression. So there's that word coefficient, and there's the word constant. Constant, there's no instant, so that's the number that's not with a variable, and coefficient is the number that's with the variable. So our coefficient is 15. Our constant is -4. Do you remember your negative sign? Remember that constants and coefficients always have a sign. If you don't see it, it's positive, so you could have wrote positive 15 and you'd be equally correct. But the constant, you have to have that negative sign because that negative sign is with it. And then variables. Our variable in this expression is x. Alright, last question. Here we have an equation. We know it's an equation because there's an equal sign and there's an expression on each side of that equal sign. Wants to know how many coefficients or what are the coefficients? Well, remember coefficients are the numbers that are with our variables. So we have a -6. Is that it? No, we have another variable, y. But where's its coefficient at? Remember, it's invisible if it's 1. So positive 1 is your other coefficient. All variables have coefficients. Constants, I see a 2 and I see an 18. It doesn't matter on which side of the equation the constants and coefficients and variables may be located. They're still constants, coefficients, and variables. Let's find our variables. X is a variable and so is y. And the final question asks for how many terms do you see? Now you may have put down 2, but there's actually 4. Terms can be on either side of that equal sign. Remember, they're separated by plus and minus signs, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. How'd you do?